All right, this is recording 8:45, listen next, 8:45. It's a part of my podcast series called Speaking to the CIA. You can find me at speakingtothecia.com or christinastation918.com. Okay, so this one is on crimes that Gene Roberts and her Manson occult / KKK. For those of you who have been following my entire podcast, you know the constructs of everything. Anyway, so I'm going to start off with that in the past, and then I'm going to go to present day crimes that Gene Roberts and her Manson occult / KKK are committing present day. Okay, so when I decoded the assassination of Abraham Lincoln, I decoded that there were 8 courses. Okay, but when you look it up on the internet, it only shows 4. No surprise there. So what was served, as reported on the internet, is mock turtle soup, roast Virginia fowl, baked yams, a slice of almond cake for dessert. Okay, so remember in my last recording when I said what my favorite flavors were? Okay, so apricot is in here. It's inside yams. The apricot is the yam. And then also, people also said, no, it also goes to ascot, which is a scarf. And then, oh my gosh, she did that too, a scarf. And then note the AP and apricot. Okay, so, all right, so moving forward. So at least a dozen injured in Toledo Festival mass shooting. Police search for suspects. So what she used here was old... I only decode like the high levels, what you guys don't already know. And then just to remind you again, what you probably already know, to confirm that you know that Gene Roberts and her Manson occult / KKK committed these crimes. Whoever is controlling my speech right now, rolling my eyes when I'm saying KKK, I don't know how many times I have reported that the KKK funds you, Charles Manson. You and the KKK are guilty. And you know they're on tonight in my brain and mental telepathy. That's because you've got celebrities on that are held hostage that only can hear when listening to you live. So Jean, see right now my brain, she's going, thank you. Jean is on with her ring of snots, and they're acting like they didn't commit the crime, and they're acting like they're cops and they're going to go racket it, is what's going on. So they're on right now. Anyway, so in this Toledo shooting, okay, it was at Old West End. So she's using West End Girls, okay, by Pet Shop Boys. Pet Shop Boys, they were really popular in 1986. I used to love them. And then they also sang a song called, which I don't watch a video, it makes me sick, because I'm like, please tell me you guys are ice rape. Please tell me you guys are ice rape. Please tell me that was all artistic videography. But anyway, the song, I love this song, Let's Make Lots of Money. Okay, so they're making a reference, not Pet Shop Boys. Gene Roberts is making a reference to Oswego, which is underneath Oklahoma City. It's in Abajo underneath Oklahoma City. She's also making a reference to St. Bartholomew, which is another Abajo. That's underneath New Orleans somehow, but I don't know the location of it. So, and I've already explained that before, in my podcast. I don't know the exact location of it. I just know that it's called St. Bartholomew. And then earlier today, she said in my brain, she goes, barf bag, is what she said. So obviously she's using reference to the phrase Holy Toledo. And then she's mocking basically that she's getting away with committing these crimes. She's basically saying, I don't care if they know I'm committing these crimes, I'm going to commit them. Well, obviously you're trying to hide, even though I've got you outed to 8 billion people, because in my brain, you switch stuff around and you pretend to be me, Christina Stacia. Christina Marie Stacia, 11/13/71. You'll even edit it out of the freaking captions. You edited out my podcast name in the caption, speaking to the CIA.com. You pretend to be me, Jean Jernigan Roberts. You are not me. So anyway, okay, next crime. Dallas apartment explosion. First responding officers describe initial scene, saving animals. So the apartment explosion, I saw that on TikTok, and I went to go look up to see if it's real, and it's a real apartment explosion. Reading through it, if you have my latest podcast, then you already know that Jean Jernigan Roberts did it, committed the crime. So what I did was I went to Dallas Police Facebook page, and then on the Dallas Police Facebook page there was a gay parade, and they had the float right next to a tall tower. So I knew that they were signaling. They know that it's Jean Jernigan Roberts and her Manson occult, and they know that when I think of the rainbow, I think of the global war on terrorism. So in that post, in the comments, I put, just making sure you guys have my podcast, speaking to the CIA.com. So multiple people stabbed near Penn Station, leaving one seriously injured as investigation continues. Penn Station knows that Jean Jernigan Roberts committed this crime, and they know by the pin, and then they know by station in the captions on my podcast. Jean hacks my captions. She keeps saying station on it instead of my actual last name. Stacia. It's pronounced Stacia. It's spelled like Statia. Statia. So she keeps hacking my last name to be Station, okay? So, and then you also know from the PS, you know that she committed these crimes. I know you know that, so I'm just giving the headline. I know you know she committed the crime. Video captures firework exploding from burning trailer that shut down Interstate 75. No injuries reported after the blaze near the Ooltewah exit forced a temporary shutdown of I-75 in both directions. So what she's using there is Oolagah, which means you could probably cross through, you can reduce, which it is a cross reduction. White crosses, Jean Jernigan Roberts, Ku Klux Klan, Charles Manson. But she, she has a lithographs with the black crosses too. Like I said, she's Charles Manson, Ku Klux Klan. But anyway, you can take Oolagah and Ooltewah and reduce that and decode out a cipher. And also know Oolagah, that's here in Oklahoma. That's off of Highway 75. Large-scale drone attack hit St. Petersburg. The raid came after Vladimir Zelensky suggested the Ukrainian drones could pay a visit from the International Economic Forum. Okay. And then also, Ukrainian drone explodes in Romanian port. The uncrewed naval vessel detonated near Constanta's oil terminal with more drones exploding offshore. So what she did here is Jean Jernigan Roberts and her Manson occult committed both these crimes. And as I was decoding them in my brain, they were snotting out. And they even ice raped one of my roommates to burp. acting like they were going to get away with all of it. I mean, just totally just snotting out. Anyway, what they used was, they're obviously making a reference to General Petraeus. So they think this is a joke, like they're getting away with it. Not General Petraeus. You remember I decoded, she used General Petraeus, and then she controlled his name, and it's General Petraeus, and then that signs the future. Okay, so what she's using is Peter the Roman between these two drone attacks. So Peter the Roman is the final pope mentioned in the famous 12th century prophecy of the popes. According to this alleged vision attributed to Saint Malachi, the last pontiff will guide the church through great tribulations before the destruction of Rome and the last judgment. So she committed these two crimes also. Ukrainian drone explodes in Romanian port. Okay, I just covered that. That goes to what I just said. And then United States bomb threat closes Como Park Zoo and Conservatory. So she's using Perry Como. They're trying to racket the podcast that I have up, where the very people that are on right now ran that child abuse ring. And this is what she's doing. Someone said in my brain, they go, that's Melissa's cage. And they were talking about that in reference to a fire that I just reported at the beginning of this podcast in Dallas. But that goes to this. So those two crimes are connected. So what she's using is she's exploiting her, abusing those kids in Sperry, Oklahoma. She's trying to racket it. They're all on. And she's using They Cage the Animals at Night, which is a book that I loved when I was younger, that I read in high school. So she's trying to confuse and mix up Melissa with me, and they're referring to some book I read in high school, and then she makes a bomb threat and thinks she's getting away with it. And then that's Melissa's cage. So that means Jean Roberts is claiming that she's Melissa. And then, but Melissa is probably helping them too. God knows what's going on. I don't know. But anyway, remember when Jean Jernigan Roberts got in the cage? Okay. And I'm not talking about in my brain and mental telepathy, how Vladimir Putin put Jean Roberts in a cage in front of his desk and telling her she would pay dearly. Okay, that whole podcast. This was after that. Jean Roberts thought it was a gigantic joke. And in my brain, in full cinematic, she puts a gigantic cage on my dad's back porch in Slidell. And she climbs in the cage and she's just laughing hysterically. And she pissed off Latin America everywhere because she knew what she was doing when she did it. She was laughing about kids being locked in cages at the border is what she was doing. And she was laughing that she was going to get away with lying about me, stealing my name, stealing my life, stealing my decode, and how she was just going to play everybody and get the hell away with all of that. And she was laughing her ass off. And it was for months and months and months after that. People would pick her up in my brain in that cage. Literally pick Jean Jernigan Roberts up in that cage and take her from the top of the intersection and just boom, just drop her on the freaking ground. Anyway, China shop explosion leaves 2 dead, 13 injured. China's Liaoning province leaves 2 people dead and 13 others slightly injured, according to local authorities. So what she's using here, and this is in I don't know how you pronounce this, Benxi city. Okay, so Jean Roberts committed this crime. So she's using liaison is what she's using. She found a new word to use instead of concierge. So she's bragging about being a liaison now, what Donald Trump calls Gene Roberts and her Manson Occult KKK concierge services, and she's concierging everyone everywhere. Well, that's what she's doing, is she is being sarcastic and cracking a joke, and she's calling herself a liaison, and she's basically threatening China, is what she's doing. Like, come at me, bro, is what she's doing there. United States, a massive warehouse fire damages clubhouse belonging to Fresno Motorcycle Club. So this one, I wasn't going to put this one in here because it's very obvious that Gene Roberts committed this crime. The reference to Fresno, California from Airplane, and then Fresno is also the sound of a lyric in a hip-hop song. So she's using music, so they said to put it in because who's ever twisting and warping the music that's Gene Roberts and her Manson Occult. They're in big ass trouble. They want this headline in this recording. And then the very next headline I read after that, Indonesia house fire kills 1, injures 5 in Indonesia's central Jakarta. So then it goes from Fresno to Indonesia. So I'm like, there it is right there. So Gene Roberts committed this crime in Indonesia. And what she did earlier on my playlist when I was listening to the radio is she controls the play of the music. She controls all the play of the music everywhere, especially mine, to like irritate me and to put on a show and do mic droppies and lie to people and do her usual stunts, her razzle dazzle. She's white, she's fabulous, she's posing as a cop, she's committing a crime. She jokes off, nothing to see her, folks, and then she'll do it again. She thinks she's getting away with all that. So what she used was she put on Freddie Jackson. So you guys already know Freddie is a character on A Different World. So she's making a reference from Freddie to Jakarta, because Jakarta sounds like, and then also she's using the Jack. I can't remember what the other character's name is on A Different World, but it sounds similar to Jakarta. So Gene Roberts and her Manson Occult committed all of these crimes.